We'll jump right into it. First, Monday, the NHL did say that they're going to be moving into phase 2 in June, which is the step after self-quarantine. It means teams can open training facilities. Players can gather in group of 6 or fewer with the okay from local health officials. It's strictly voluntary. It's for on and off ice workouts. And then on Tuesday, Commissioner Gary Bettman confirmed what we had already known, that there's going to be a 24-team, I guess you call it a play-in to the playoffs. It's a plan that the union agreed to, 29-2. They don't know when formal training camps are going to start. It's not going to be at least until the second half of July. They also announced the regular season is officially done, so the postseason awards are official there. Pasta and Ovechkin are going to split the Richard Trophy for most goals with 48 each. Tuukka Rask and Yarrow Halak are going to split the Jennings Trophy for fewest goals allowed. The Bruins will win the President's Trophy. And we have the first German to ever win the Art Ross Trophy, our pal Leon Draisaitl, with 110 points. He had 13 more than his teammate Connor McDavid. So 3 of the last 4 years, and Euler has won that. Ovechkin, his 9th time leading the league in goals, extending his own record. That's 4 times more than Wayne Gretzky did it. Also, a couple interesting quotes from Bettman. He reiterates the start for next season. It could start as late as December, if not January. They're really like not giving the 2 shits about pushing next season back. Another couple quotes from Bettman. There's no magic to starting in October. If it has to slide more, then we'll let it slide. I think this league is just committed to having playoffs in July and August going forward. Anyways, we got the matchups that should happen. Let's go to you, Whit, for your take first now that everything is officially official.
As Biz mentioned, there's going to be haters, right? I mean, I've already said that the winner of this year maybe will have a little bit of an asterisk and only get the top little bowl of the Stanley Cup. I've made it clear. But still, I love the fact that the NHL gets out and is the first league, well, maybe not the first. There's soccer in Europe, things like that, but the NHL has made it clear they're going to play. And the NBA, we haven't really heard from. I'd be surprised if they don't. You hear Walt Disney World being talked about as maybe their hub in Orlando. But baseball's got their issues, totally different animal with the fact none of the season's been played. But hockey, it did a great job of, listen, let's get out there. Let's give some fans something to look forward to. And let's make sure that there's going to be a winner this year. Now, there are so many questions, and we can go over, actually, I think a good a player rep, Devin Dubnyk, one of my buddies, did a good job in explaining not what players are worried about, but maybe the things that may not work in terms of this deal and what they're talking about. But still, you could talk about teams getting screwed over, and you talk about the Carolina Hurricanes and the Tampa Bay Lightning being the only 2 teams in a 29-2 vote voting in favor of not doing this. I think they were the ones who said, no, I don't want to do this. I don't think it's fair. But that shows, I mean, what is that? 29 out of 31? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's 96%. Check my math, please, guys. On teams agreeing, all right, this is fair. Let's get it going. This is a crazy time. Nothing like this has ever happened, and we're going to try to figure out a way to make it somewhat fair. I think if you take the top 12 based on points percentage in each conference, that's as close and as well as you're going to do this. Yeah, some teams are going to get screwed, but look, Montreal's in this thing. You kidding me? The Coyotes, business team. The Coyotes are getting a shot here. And let me remind you, for people wondering, why did Carolina vote against it? It's because they have to play the Rangers, who smacked them in the mouth 4 times this year, 4-0 against the Hurricanes. So I love it. I think we have stuff to talk about. We have a plan moving forward. Granted, it's in pencil, not pen, but still, it's time to at least discuss the game being played. And maybe there are some players who aren't happy, but I'm sure a lot of guys are ready to get going.
Wow, that was pretty good off the top.
Thank you. That was off the top of my head too.
I'm going to hop right into the Hurricane situation. Of course, I'm okay with them voting the way they did. They end up getting bent over, given the rules in place. But their comments were, we voted no, but if it doesn't go in our favor, we roll on. It's not an excuse in Brenda Moore fashion, okay? So I think everyone can, and RA, you can agree to this. That's a fair assessment. They should have voted no because it was bending them over, but they're saying let's move on, okay? Yeah. So that's out of the way. Draisaitl, congratulations. We're going to put the Cologne on hold because he's got bigger fish to fry. Once he releases the restraining order, we're going to get that thing going. You mentioned Ovechkin. This guy's still a freak of nature. We I also have to mention his wife gave birth to their second child. So it's been a pretty busy week for him getting the Rocket Richard Trophy and a new kid named Ilya. And I'm curious to know if it has anything to do with Kovalchuk and maybe just kind of like a,
they're very close friends, Biz.
They're very close friends. So maybe a little respect to his countrymen. The Islanders, that would be back-to-back years that they share that goaltending average title, correct?
The Jennings.
The Bruins, you mean?
Did the Bruins win it last year?
No, the Bruins won it this year.
Oh, this year. Okay, well then I'm a fucking idiot. We can move on from that topic. I had a question mark here. Since the league awards are coming out, who do we got for Rookie of the Year? I mean, this is the city of Vancouver may burn down again if Quinn Hughes does it not at least get a consideration for this thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the third rookie to lead defenseman in scoring. The other two, Bobby Orr and I think Brian Leach. So, you just hear those names and numbers, they jump out at you. I know people in Colorado are going to make the same case for Cale Makar, but I think you got to lean Quinn Hughes here. And we got to give a nod to our buddy Elvis, too, who's had an unreal year, come out of nowhere, literally nowhere, to save the Columbus season. But it's going to be tough to beat Quinn Hughes for the Calder, I think.
And then you start thinking about teams who are, maybe guys out for the year. He's done. Well, looks like the Pittsburgh Penguins probably have Jake Gensel back.
Yep.
Right? And you start thinking of, now, granted, I will mention in the same breath as that, it looks like Nick Bjugstad, no matter what, is going to be done for the year, which sucks. I think he had a little bit of a setback in his recovery from injury. But still, this whole dynamic is so interesting. And I think back to when we talked to Killorn, Doc Talk, shout out Doc Talk. I got a shirt. I know that there'll be people who are out there dogging it like the wit dog, no pun intended. But when these guys get going, they will be full bore, and it will feel exactly like a Stanley Cup to them. Because when you're on the ice, even if there's no fans, I mean, there is no, what do you call it, Biz, when guys are good friends before the game?
Tummy sticks.
There is no tummy sticks once this all begins. Because, it'll be way different, and the first few games will feel bizarre, but in the end, guys will get used to it, and they're going to figure out we're still competing for the Stanley Cup. So I'm just excited to see competition begin again. That's more my thing. And then the issue in terms of like what teams will come back better from this, who's been getting ready, who hasn't really been doing anything, who planned on never playing again until next year. I don't know, but I think you'll be able to tell pretty soon after seeing the first few games being played on who's struggling and who's maybe ready to go.
And Ari, how'd you feel about this one? Of course, there was some complaints about that this is even happening. And one of the protocols they are taking is every person has to be tested at night, every single night. So they're upset that throughout this whole process, there's probably going to be around 40,000 tests that are going to need to be used in order to put this on, given the fact that the NBA will probably do it another 40,000. And one of the concerns is that will drive up the market on what tests costs. So some of the general public not too crazy about this.
Of course.
It's just like you can't keep everyone happy. This seems like they're doing a good job, because if you don't test everyone every night, then there's going to be complaints on the fact they're not taking safety very seriously. So that was one of the issues. Next one, I would say the biggest issue of everything is fairness in the draft. Now, of course, you can't keep everyone happy in each scenario. I guess what's crazy is a team that ends up getting in the 24 teams, the last team, if you look at the diagram, they will have a 6% chance to get that first overall pick. And they also get the chance to play in to win a Stanley Cup. I think that should be way lower, and there should be more of a percentage for teams who aren't in that to, of course, get the first overall pick. If all goes according to plan, we won't have to worry about it. But just
it never does.
But just imagine this, and people are going over the scenario. Edmonton, if they lose out in the first bit there, I believe they have a chance to get the first overall pick. If I'm wrong on that, I definitely know that Pittsburgh, if they lost out to, who'd you say they were going against? Montreal?
Les Habitants.
If they lose to Montreal, they have a chance at getting that first overall pick. Could you imagine the uproar if the Pens pull the rabbit out of their ass? And then
Lafreniere is playing with Crosby next year.
Snapping it tape
Gets
to tape.
40 and 40 as a 19-year-old.
So
the pandemic draft.
So ultimately, some people will get screwed on this scenario on the draft. But I mean, as far as getting the revenue back and making it open to 24 teams, and of course sneaking in the Blackhawks, who there's another team who's got a pretty fair shake at it. They got some studs, and I would imagine that they kept a tight ship throughout the break. So definitely a lot of question marks here and a lot of issues to discuss, RA. I know I've rambled on quite a bit here, but anything else that we didn't clean up?
Well, the draft lottery, it's very convoluted. I could describe it to you, and people are going to fall asleep within 30 seconds, but you did bring up a couple of the major points. Teams that lose the play-in round will still have a shot at the top pick, but the format does ensure that none of the 16 playoff teams can get a top 3 pick, which was, I think, a big concern. You don't want a team running to the conference finals and still getting a top 3 pick, unless, of course, they own another team's pick. Like Ottawa's looking good. They're probably going to get 2 top 5, 6 picks here. Also, the other thing is the round robin. Now, if I'm a top 4 team, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Bruins fan, you can take the side from either conference, but these guys are basically playing a best of 3 or a round robin for the last line change. I wonder about intensity there. I know they're trying to get in game shape, and it's not the same as playing the play-in thing. But are you concerned with any intensity issues with these teams? Like I said, they're basically playing for last change because there's no real home ice where there's no crowds.
No, because I think that every person inside that locker room wants to win a Stanley Cup, and I do truly believe that. But from an organizational standpoint, maybe some people who aren't inside that locker room, and of course people, fans of the teams, yeah. I've seen it going on online where people are like, I'd much rather lose in on that play-in round and have the potential at a top pick. But it goes back to that Elliott interview. I don't think people understand the drop-off after you get out of the top 2 picks. And the fact that you have a chance to go for it and win it, given that the playing field is pretty much even at this point, especially if your team that didn't fare too well in the regular season up until that point was able to not only get healthy, but keep their heads on straight. I think everyone realistically has a fair shake at this thing who's in.
Well, look at the Canadians.
They
weren't getting in the playoffs. Now they have Price, and this is where fans and players were always differ in terms of opinion. None of those players care about getting the first overall pick. They don't give a shit. But they're going to get into this series with Pittsburgh, and they got Carey Price, who all of a sudden stands on his head, and then they go on this little run. The argument you make, RA, and that people have brought up is valid in terms of like, well, what do you point? There's no home ice advantage. It's just this. It's the competition. It's what drives us athletes. Yeah, I'm still an athlete. I was a former pro athlete. Now I'm a golfer. But the competition is within all of these guys. They will fight and they will care and they will have this drive to win when they're playing, because that's exactly what's brought them to where they are. That's what I'm saying. The first few games are going to be weird. After that, you will see hatred on the ice. You will see intensity, and there will be no difference in terms of like the level of play, because there aren't fans in the crowd, because it's impossible once you get into competition to not be all in, full bore, ready to go. It's what drives these guys. I know I'm repeating myself, but in the end, these guys don't care about what their team's going to pick in the draft lottery, because all that could do is knock their job out. Oh shit, we drafted defenseman. I'm gone. I don't care. I don't care about the draft. I hope we get the 30th pick so we have some scrub. Not that the 30th pick's a scrub. I just happen to be the 5th pick. Sorry.
And I don't want to also overvalue the fact that like some of these guys are used to playing in front of sold out crowds, right? Where I'm not saying their motivation won't be there, but maybe their ability to get up for games, they're just like, oh, I can't do it. So those teams that maybe were out of it and all of a sudden they're in it and they're playing a lot looser, and like maybe it even becomes a little bit silly. And you mentioned Carey Price. What if he goes on a 25 game run? He's a world-class player. That's why this throws a wrench in the whole mix, is that if you get 3 or 4 guys elevating a team that are of world-class level and they just go on this crazy run because of given the circumstances, it's anyone's game, and I couldn't be more excited for it.
So, Biz, you disagree with me in saying that guys will be getting up, not maybe the first game or two, but you can't see the best players. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, everyone's going. I'm embarrassing myself not playing well.
It wouldn't shock me if they did. But what I'm saying is, given the fact that that the St. Louis Blues were used to playing in front of 18,000 crazy fans in their arena, and then all of a sudden you go from just sucking that energy out. I don't know how it's going to affect them. I don't know. Maybe they're inside their locker room after having a bad start being like, man, like I just can't get into it. I don't know. And it becomes a mental thing. So it's something that we've never seen before. So expect the unexpected, everybody. Phase 2, let's go.
And RA, I know you did I know you did mention that the Eastern Conference and Western Conference will be in, there'll be one city for each. Can you list off the cities that are possibilities? Do you have those on you?
Absolutely. I can do that for you right now, my friend. The 10 hub cities under consideration are Vegas, Toronto, Chicago, Columbus, Edmonton, Dallas, L.A., it says Minnesota, but I assume that means Minneapolis, Vancouver, and Pittsburgh. And they said that it's possible
Two Eastern Conference cities right there. Interesting. Not that it matters, no fans, but still.
They said that there might be both cities could potentially be in the Western Conference, depending on what the logistics are. So, also, boys, the NHL is coming back, and so is your men's league, baby. Make sure your return to the rink is fucking epic. Outfit your squad with fresh new unis from Men's League Sweaters. Go check out their online jersey builder. It's unreal. You can get super creative, go wild, get weird, design jerseys that are all right with you. They're all over the website. We got our own made last year, a couple of years ago. They were awesome. These guys made the Barstool Pond Hockey jerseys as well, and they were so fucking sick. Not to mention, like I said, individual jerseys. So order yours now and get them in time for opening night. Visit mensleaguesweaters.com/chiclets or use the promo code chiclets for a limited time. You will get free matching hockey socks, a free custom designed logo, and they'll expedite your order for free. That's like $600 in free shit for your team. So make your team the envy of the league. Go to mensleaguesweaters.com/chiclets.
Great read, RA. And those are the ones who did the Grinnell Apartment Rats jersey, the Pigeons jerseys for me. They also did
the jerseys for the Barstool team.
That's right. I'd like to see a Rear Admiral 69 jersey with the Rain City Bitch Pigeons on the front. Maybe they'll mock one up for you.
So he's stand-up 69ing a pigeon?
Yeah, it's like with two pigeons in a fucking yin-yang position, so they're doing a 69.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, all right, you know what's unreal? And now listeners at home, we're all looking at each other. You guys know that. And today, I just happen to know Biz for the first time ever has a huge notepad that he must be reading his stats off of and still said the wrong team won the Jennings Trophy.
Yeah, that was
so
stupid.
Biz, I love you. You got your pad. You were ready and prepared, but that's why you're Biz, my best buddy.
They send me these phase 2 articles, and I'm trying to comprehend what's going on. I make it one paragraph, and then all of a sudden I'm like eating my boogers, like staring at the ceiling, and I'm like, when did I take my eyes off that?
Today I said, all right, I'm sitting down at 11 o'clock because we're recording at noon. I said, I'm going to do a bunch of research on what's gone down these past 3 days. And all of a sudden it was 11:50, and I was putting on my putting mat in the living room. So, oh, shit, I never prepared.
Okay, well, since you guys got all perverted with the Rain City Bitch Pigeon 69 jersey, right now, the Swiss sex workers are actually going to allow 2 sexual positions in an effort to combat COVID-19. I don't know if you guys read this headline. So I haven't dug too much into the article, but what do you think are the safest sex positions if they're going to open up the sex shops? Okay,
so they say it's like breathing or coughing in someone's face. So you got to think doggy style's one.
100%.
Your faces are staying the same way. It's similar to now some stairs are one way and the rest of the stairs are the other way. You can't go up and down the same stairwell. So doggy style takes care of that. And then the other one, reverse cowgirl coming at you with the little face action same way. So there you go, Whit. Not the sex guy in the podcast. I actually wanted to bring up before when you did
the only one with a kid.
Now you'll. So last night on the Chiclets feed, Nats. Yeah, seriously.
No wonder you're not having sex.
One for one. So listen, last night on the Chiclets feed, we were discussing on the EA Cup, the Chiclets Cup. We were discussing how. When you start thinking about something, like, does your mind ever go back and say, how the hell did I just start thinking about this? Well, I do it all the time. So I want to say where my brain just brought me in that sex discussion was back to the testing every single day, in which we've seen how testing goes, right? They stick that like 6-inch thing up your nose to your brain, which is double the length of my hose. I got about a 3-inch wrench. So A guy's going to have to get that thing up towards their brain every night? That's awful. And that's how my brain works.
There are a couple different testing methods. I don't know if that's the one that the NHL is planning on using. And again, to go back to your point about the Dubnyk article, I got kind of dragged online yesterday because that Dubnyk article I thought was very good because it said, hey, there's still a long ways to go. And I wrote a blog I didn't finish it till like 10 minutes before Bettman's post went up. So I'm like, no, hockey's not back. And then like 10 minutes later, his press conference is like, hey, everybody, hockey's back. But it was with the same info we already had known that it was going to be the 2014 thing.
Well, let's bring our medical expert on. Grinnell, what's up with these tests? Is that the only way they can test, by shoving this Q-tip up people's brains?
As the medical expert, I would say yes.
All right,
that
thank you.
sucks because you can't tell me you're going to go to Patrick Kane on Tuesday night, stick a Q-tip up his brain, and then Wednesday night when he feels even better than Tuesday, say, hey, I got to stick this Q-tip up to your brain again. He's going to say, no, you don't. I'm Showtime. Get the fuck up when I score goals when there are fans back in the building and get that Q-tip away from my brain. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'd rather get a finger in my ass.
Well,
That's pleasant.
Wouldn't like that. What?
Oh, what?